Hey everybody, and thank you for joining this subject guidance session. Today we are going to be going through exam preparation for your June exam for the Grade 8 Technology June examination. We will be looking at some administrative details with regards to your June exam. We will also be looking at an overview of Term 1 and Term 2 as that is applicable to your June exam. We'll be taking a look at the exam format and what you can expect in the layout of your June exam, a few study tips, and also some helpful resources that you can find on the OLP. Take a look at some of the administrative details for your June exam. Your June exam will be task 3. Remember, your PAT is task 4 this term, and you will be writing an exam, not a test this term. The suggested date for your June exam will be Friday, the 2nd of June 2023, and you will write in session 1, which is the morning session. You will have 1.5 hours to complete your exam. That amounts to 90 minutes. And your exam will be out of 100 marks. So you have 90 minutes to complete your exam, which counts out of 100. Let us now take a look at an overview of your units from Term 1 to Term 2. It is important for you to refresh and to study all units from Term 1 to the end of Term 2 for your June exam. You can expect content and questions both from Term 1 and Term 2 in your upcoming exam. In Term 1, we largely took a look at design skills. We also looked at structures, so make sure to refamiliarize yourselves with those units and with the topics within your units in Term 1 because you can expect questions and content from Term 1 to show up in your June exam. Then importantly, in Term 2, we focused largely on the impact of technology and processing, including the negative impact of technology and possible solutions to that. And we also looked at some of the positive impacts of technology and its possible effect on the environment and on communities. So very important for you to have a good understanding of the impact of technology and processing and to be able to draw on prior knowledge in answering the questions that might be given to you in the exam. Your exam format is usually presented in Section A, Section B, and Section C. Section A being the case study, Section B being your theory, and Section C being your practical aspect or your drawing. However, just note that Section A, B, and C are in no specific order. So you could get your theory in Section 1 and you could get your case study in Section B, for instance. It is just that the usual layout is Section A, your case study, Section B, your theory, and Section C, your practical or your drawing aspect. All exams contain questions that integrate knowledge and values with the design process. So it is very important, given that the design process is the basis of technology, that you are familiar with the design process and that you can recognize that your assessments, your PATs, your exams, your tests follow the steps in the design process. The following slides will explain what you can expect in Section A, Section B, and Section C of your examination. Let's take a closer look at Section A, which is usually your case study in the June exam. As you can see on your screen, there is an example of what a typical Section A question could look like. So that is your case study, followed by questions based on the reading. In this section, you will get a reading followed by questions based on the reading and Term 1 and Term 2 content. Remember to read through your case study thoroughly. Read it more than once if you do have enough time to do so. Pay close attention to the mark allocations for the questions that follow, and ensure that you answer all questions fully and provide enough information to meet the mark allocations. Remember that most of the information you need to answer the questions can be found in the case study. However, for some questions, you might also need to back up your answer or substantiate your answer with prior knowledge. Write as neatly and as legibly as possible. So ensure that your handwriting is neat and tidy, that you are using a blue pen to write, and that your scanned uploads are clear. And then once you have finished with section A, ensure that you draw a line after the section and you begin section B on a new page. Let's now take a look at section B of your examination, which is usually your theory section. As you can see on the screen again, there's an example for you of what a typical section B could look like. That could include multiple choice questions, match column A to column B questions, or true or false questions. So in this section, you can expect short and long theory-based questions as outlined on the slide below, multiple choice questions, as I said, match column A to column B questions, and are the following statements true or false? You can also be asked to draw diagrams, to fill in or complete tables, to do calculations, and to do longer content-based questions in section B. Make sure in this section that you number your questions correctly and in the correct order. So if you are answering question 2.1, ensure that you have written clearly on your folio paper or on your answer sheet 2.1 followed by the answer, whether it is a true or false question or multiple choice question. Then again, rule a line after you have finished section B and begin section C on a brand new page. Section C of your examination is usually your practical aspect, where you might be asked to do formal or technical drawings. As you can see on the screen, there is an example again of what a typical section C question might look like. In this section, you will be asked to draw formal drawings. These formal drawings must be drawn on the given drawing sheets, which will be made available to you before your exam takes place. Make sure that you use the correct drawing tools where applicable, indicate scale and dimension where applicable, and always read the instructions carefully to ensure that your drawing is done correctly. Very importantly, remember to place the views in the correct position on your drawing sheet where applicable. Always keep your mathematical set handy in case you need those tools to do your formal drawings, but at the very least ensure that you have a pencil, a sharpener, an eraser, and a ruler with which to do your formal drawings. Finally, make sure that your drawings are done neatly using the correct line types. Let us now take a look at some helpful study tips. Remember, it is important to review prior knowledge about a given unit before starting a new unit. So before you move on from one unit to the next, ensure that you thoroughly understand the previous unit, as in technology, many of our units are linked. Make sure that all content is completed per term in preparation for the term tests and exams. In other words, ensure that you have completed all of your assessments for the term, that being your term tests and your PATs. This term you will have an exam. The design process, investigate, design, make, evaluate, and communicate, forms the backbone of the subject technology and is used to structure the delivery of all learning objectives in technology. So make sure that you refamiliarize yourselves with the steps in the design process. Always try to answer all questions and don't leave any questions blank. It is better to attempt a question and to get partial marks for the question rather than to get a 0 for a question you might have left out. Where applicable, know all of your symbols and acronyms. Remember, drawings must be practiced. Therefore, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. All drawings must be drawn with the correct instruments. So like we discussed before, make sure that you keep your mathematical set on hand and at the very least ensure that you have your ruler, your pencil, your eraser on hand in order to do your drawings. Never erase construction lines. Always ensure that they are light enough on your drawing that they do not need to be erased. And remember that neat drawings always look better, so ensure that your drawings are legible. Do not start studying the night before your exam. Pace yourself, study a little bit every day in order to build up your knowledge for the June examination. And then you can refer to the OLP for previous exam papers, as these are excellent resources for practice and preparation. The Optimi Learning Portal, or the OLP, has got many fantastic resources that you can make use of in facilitating your studying for your June exam. Make the OLP your starting point when you start preparing for your exams. The easiest way to make sure that you are exam ready is to work through past papers. You can download the past papers on the OLP by using the following method. You can click on the resources button on the OLP once you've logged on. You can choose the subject for which you want to prepare. You have all of your subjects listed there. In this case, you would click on technology. Then you click on previous exam papers and you will see previous examination papers from different years showing up on that tab. You can then open or download them and work through those papers as practice for your June exam. We wish you all of the very best of luck in your upcoming June examinations. Study well and ensure that you refresh your memories and refamiliarize yourselves with all of the units that we have looked at from Term 1 up until the end of Term 2. Thank you for joining the subject guidance session today. Should you have any other questions or queries regarding the June examination, you can feel free to send an email to info@impact.co.za and they will get back to you with a response as soon as possible.